So the Business Model Navigator is a proven concept how to develop new business models. But practically, the huge question what we always get asked is how to conduct a business model innovation initiative, how to lead such an initiative.
In order to be successful with business model innovation, you need to pay attention to a couple of issues.
First is start with a small team and start with a small idea. Be lean.
You need to have separated units. Like internal startups, they should really focus on the business model innovation idea and should be able to work on it separately from the rest of the organization.
Open up your innovation process. You need to have an open mindset. That means actually you need to include external ideas, external partners. Maybe think of including those business model partners from another industry.
Hire new employees for this new business model innovation team or initiative because they have new ideas, they are not too much into the dominant logic of the company or of the industry, and therefore they can really focus with fresh ideas, with new ideas on this new business model innovation initiative.
Be very specific. Start with a specific product idea. Start with a specific value proposition. And then later on, make it more generic. Every huge business model innovation starts with one small idea, with one small value proposition. And that value proposition has to address the gains and the pains of the customers. It has to fulfill the customer jobs. They have to directly translate those actually in new products and new product offerings.
You need to have autonomy. So you need to give them autonomy so that they can work quite independently on this new idea and on this new business model innovation initiative. And you also need to ensure that they can interact with the other business units. So this is really important because if you only separate them, then they are pretty much on their own. But what is very important, especially for incumbent and established firms, that they use the knowledge of the existing organization, because only by combining new knowledge with existing knowledge, they will come up with truly novel ideas. And this is what we really want at the end.
Balance between your existing business and the new business. There are two ways actually. The one way is actually separated organizationally. And the second way, which also can work, is actually align the business model innovation team with all the existing business units. That means you need a certain kind of ambidexterity, which means explore and exploit at the same time. That's a huge challenge for a lot of managers by exploring really huge potentials of the new business model in the same time actually squeezing the last cent out of existing business model and out of the existing product cost.
But what is the key challenge for top management is to handle this ambidexterity. So on the one hand, you need to focus on this efficient business and manage it and motivate them. And on the other hand, you need to let those creative guys do their job and think about new business model initiatives. I personally believe those companies that are successful at the end are those that are able to manage this balance between being efficient, exploit existing business, but also allow exploratory initiatives to emerge and to develop. For the existing business, you are focusing on efficiency, you are focusing on performance, you are focusing on speed, etc. But in this new initiative, you need to focus on giving them freedom, that they can be creative, that they can be innovative. And so it needs a totally different governance.
Don't measure too much. Give a certain kind of a freedom at the beginning, and then later on, after 2 years, 3 years, really do the hardcore measurings. Because otherwise, the small plant actually has no chance to survive.
Culture eats strategy. And therefore, you can have the best strategy in order to develop innovative business models. But if you do not have the culture within your organization to allow this business model innovation to come up besides the current business, then you will not be successful. In order to be successful with business model innovation, you need to have those internal startups, give them the freedom, give them the autonomy, but also measure them to some extent. On the other hand, ensure that you have the core business running, which is focusing on efficiency.
If you carefully check that, if you walk the talk as a top executive, if you get the sponsoring and really the full support of the top management, and then you also consider a few basic project management rules, you get actually a quite higher probability of conducting a successful business model initiative.